cute when he does it. It's creepy when you do it.
I also can't I can't get the proper pitch.
Well, and also he does like a little what is it called?
A trill?
Yeah, it does like a trill.
There's like a purr to it.
Yeah, like a purr. Yeah, like a purr. You see?
Hey!
I was gonna say.
No, this is Patrick.
His mayonnaise instrument. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Good middle of the month, everybody. Oh.
Good middle of the month.
Good middle of the month.
Happy middle of the month.
It's hump month. Month hump. Never mind.
Thank you for joining us today. We are on our third episode of our holiday special block.
Holiday Christmas block. I mean, to be honest, we're not really doing a holiday block. We're doing all Christmas shit.
Yeah.
We're not trying to sneak in whatever like fucking Lucas did with the Star Wars holiday special with Life Day. Like,
oh, forgot about that.
Yeah, you forget about I kind of want to watch it again, but like it's so painful.
I'm good on skipping.
Yeah. So yeah, third. We're on our third movie, and we're going back into unconventional. If you didn't listen to us last week, and we are now doing the movie Gremlins. You okay over there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just wincing. Mm-hmm. I swear, somebody needs to drop kick your back. I'm telling you. Like, just let me know. I mean, just think who's going to hurt more, you or me falling to the ground after the drop kick.
We'll just switch. Maybe just some WD-40.
What?
Maybe some just WD-40.
Oh, on this?
Not me. Yeah, no.
I was like, let's put some WD-40 on your back, rub it in.
I don't know. That made me think of like for muscle pains, like in Big Fat Greek Wedding. You know, he uses Windex.
The Windex for for everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. Let's get back. So we're doing Gremlins.
Yes.
Actually, do you want to do your synopsis before we get into everything?
Sure. A strange, cute, furry creature spawns others that transform into murderous reptilian beasts and terrorize small American town.
And that's getting long. That's pretty good. I could see why you were trying to describe it so that it wasn't way it's been described over and over and over again.
Yeah, was like it was the same thing with like Die Hard. I was like, it's Gremlins. I feel like most people kind of know. Well, I mean, people our age.
I mean, honestly, then just put it in a weird 5-word synopsis, a shorter synopsis, because it's more honest that way. I don't know, unless you want to. Never mind.
I can start going back to the 10-word thing.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it gives you a little bit of a challenge. You know what I mean? But yeah, so Gremlins. It came out June 8th.
Okay, yeah, that's 18 words. That's a lot.
Yeah. Came out June 8th, 1984. This is the oldest movie we've done to date so far, I'm pretty sure. Because 88 is what we'd done previous with Scrooged and Die Hard. And I think Adventures in Babysitting was 86. So...
I think you're right.
Yeah.
No, Adventures is 87.
Well, regardless.
Yeah. Whatever. Just correcting you.
But yeah. So yeah, Gremlins came out in 84. It's got a 7.3 rating on IMDb. 85% tomato meter rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 78% on audience score, and a 70 on Metacritic. So fairly well received, and or critically received actually, which doesn't surprise me. And it was number 4 in the box office for the year.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised about how well it was received.
I was expecting it to definitely be like maybe top 10 digits, but I wasn't expecting it to be number 4.
I was thinking like right after, like I was thinking like 13, 14.
Yeah?
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it also, this movie did start a couple of people, like pop off a couple of people's careers. Well, not the acting side, but.
Well, we'll get into it later, but I was also just thinking like, I was surprised about the whole thing, especially considering the whole rating thing at the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have actually, that's movie history.
Yeah. Oh, but we can get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. So, and some people are probably wondering, why are you guys doing this for a Christmas movie? Because it happens on Christmas, and we're going to talk about, is it a Christmas movie or not? And we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get to that point because that's what this whole block is about. Is like people that consider these Christmas movies, are they Christmas movies or not? But let's talk about director and all that stuff first.
Let's do that.
So this was directed by Joe Dante, who, after looking at his thing, I have seen almost his entire career.
This is one of those things of I really like Joe Dante, just didn't know that I liked Joe Dante.
Yeah, it's like when I realized that Richard Donner had directed almost everything that I love as well.
Yeah, no, I really like Joe Dante.
So like kind of going in order of his career, really. He did the original Piranha, which was remade Piranha 3D in like 2008 or something. The Howling. He directed an episode or one of the bits in the Twilight Zone movie, Inner Space, The Burbs, Small Soldiers, Erie, Indiana, a couple episodes of Erie, Indiana, Looney Tunes Back in Action. I mean,
love Small Soldiers, love Looney Tunes Back in Action, love Inner Space.
The Burbs.
The Burbs is great.
The Twilight Zone movie is one of my. I love that movie.
He needs to do more like dark comedies because Burbs and Gremlins are really like perfect examples of like.
Small Soldiers is a dark comedy in its own right. Like it's got some dark moments. Like
like the Frankenstein Barbies.
Yeah, the Frankenstein Barbies, or like even just like all of the soldiers when they're like finally like they're like trying to kill Phil Hartman and his wife and whatnot. And they like drug her like out her drink and stuff.
Yeah, and also he just has an eye for really great, creepy like shots that are really simple in a way.
Yeah,
like he has a really good eye for like that whole thing where they're making them with like light brights and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like it's really simple, but it's really creepy and really unnerving. That's the better word for it. It's unnerving.
Yeah, no, so Joe Dante, and he's got some stuff coming up. I think I saw as well. So
I got him open right here. He has 2 pre-productions coming out. The Man with the Kaleidoscope Eyes. I didn't realize how hard of a word that is for me to say.
Did you look at it and be like, why?
What is that?
I need to read that word, actually.
and then Labyrinthus?
Labyrinthus. I was going to say Labyrinthus.
Labyrinthus?
Because like Labyrinth, for the longest time of my life, I would always say Labyrinth. Until I was made fun of by a bunch of high schoolers while I was teaching them. They're like, what did you just say? I'm like, Labyrinth. They're like, it's pronounced Labyrinth, Jacob. I'm like, I've been saying that wrong my entire life. There's nothing better than a group of 16 to 17-year-olds making fun of you, like just to put you back into high school and make you feel like, oh, this is what being bullied is like.
I thought you were going to say nothing's better than saying something wrong forever and being like, wow, none of my loved ones or friends ever corrected me on that for years. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, that too. I mean, 100% that as well. Fucking friends. But yeah, so Joe Dante, who also, there's little connections of him throughout all of the casting and whatnot through this movie as well, which is really cool. But let's go into writer, who we've already done before. Because what movie did he direct that we did already?
Chris Columbus?
Yeah.
I don't remember now.
We've talked about him. Oh, wait.
Because
he's more known.
He directed. I thought he directed something we did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's more known as a director. Like he actually
Adventures in Babysitting.
That's right. 80s movie, Jacob. What was Reza saying? How many 80s movies we did? Hey, look at me. But yeah, as a writer, not so much. Really, kind of this is like one of his like biggest like other than The Goonies, but The Goonies he just did a screenplay for. Like he wrote Gremlins. Like this is his original idea.
Yeah, and I think he's more of a director-producer because he's produced a lot of stuff too.
He also did like screenplay for 9 Months, Christmas with the Cranks.
That movie's pretty funny.
So this TV series from 86 called Galaxy High School, where I was just curious and I clicked on it, and it's like we've talked about this where like you see something and you're like memories just flash through your mind. You're like, oh, I forgot this thing ever existed, like some weird fever dream.
Yeah,
like that's exactly what this is. I don't know if this will pop at anything in your mind. Like I remember watching this like as a like early Cartoon Network when it was more all just like Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
I was gonna say it kind of resembles Jetsons
a little bit, yeah. But like I have like a very weird memory of watching this stuff, and he was like the developer on it too. So
okay. And
Christopher Columbus also. I mean, people I think more known for, as we said, a director like Harry Potter.
Home Alone.
First Harry Potter's Home Alone. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think we need to go much farther down with Chris Columbus. But I guess we'll go into the starring, the actors, which this has one of the strangest casts because really, like we'll go down to each person, but like I think the biggest person is would you say Phoebe Cates or Corey Feldman? Like the bigger name. Maybe Corey Feldman, actually.
Corey Feldman.
He's stayed more relevant over the years.
Yeah, because, I mean, she had, like, a gap.
Oh, she just stopped.
Until, like, 2000. She had something in, like, 2015, I think. But then she just stopped.
Yeah. And then Zach Galligan, which we'll start with him and go through his stuff, which is this movie, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because he has 76 acting credits. And Gremlins 2 is literally all I could tell you or remember him really being in. Even though he's been like in little bits through like TV shows like NCIS or CSI and all this stuff and whatnot. Just like he did this gig and like nothing really ever just like, I think it's just like he never really got like a good grounding of like another good script or movie to really be in.
Yeah, I vaguely remember him in Waxwork.
Which, well, that's the next movie. That was his next bigger movie.
Yeah.
Big movie, quote unquote. Which I don't think I've seen. I don't even know what that is.
It's like some horror movie. I don't remember.
It's like some B or some 80s horror movie.
Yeah.
They didn't really get anything. So yeah, but I mean, he's not horrible in this movie. No. The acting in this movie really isn't the greatest in general because, like, really, this movie is about
special effects.
Special effects,
yeah. Well, because I even read I'll save that. There's a review that actually talks about that.
Oh, okay.
That I wasn't going to bring up, but since you brought up that, I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it open over here.
And then Phoebe Cates is really the next big name in it, and she's I feel like most known for like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Drop Dead Fred.
Go Tommy.
What?
Tommy likes that movie.
Oh, that's right. I was like, huh?
Tommy likes that movie.
And then
there's another Tommy. I'm not talking about myself. I'm not pulling a smeagol. Tommy likes that movie.
And like she did like a bunch of. She has like a decent IMDb list, but yeah, she pretty much just stopped acting after 1980 or 1994. And I was actually reading up on her. She's married to Kevin Kline. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, her and Kevin Kline are married, and she just decided to retire from acting more or less and wanted to be a mom, which wanted to raise her kids.
Yeah, and she almost even didn't get casted in this because of if you don't remember, she is the I guess infamous, I don't know what to call it.
The bikini drops.
The bikini drop scene in
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The studio was worried that she would be a little too risque.
Yeah,
but then
she's so cute.
Her and Zach had really great chemistry.
So they do have great chemistry.
So they were like. I think Spielberg was like...
It's like when he's asking her out on the date...
Oh, produced by Spielberg, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Spielberg bought the script, and, well, yeah, which I always forget that he's a producer on this, you know? Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, there's also a lot of fun Indiana, like, Spielberg, like drops through this movie. I was like, wow, way to jerk off your boss.
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot. You're like,
Spielberg's like, yeah, give me some more. But no, when he's like asking her out on the date, and just like you can just see her like cute, like she's like her face starts to like glow a little bit, and she's all like getting bashful. I'm just like, oh, Phoebe, you're so cute. I want to ask out Phoebe Cates. And then really the next like couple actors like. They're like Corey Feldman is in it. This movie really is like his earliest.
It's crazy to see him so young.
Yeah, he's a baby, and he's not really that much in it. Also, I love when he sees Gizmo for the first time. Just like he's like, "Oh, cool!" Not like, "What the fuck is that thing?"
Everyone's reaction to it is very like nonchalant.
I know. Which Corey Feldman, I mean, if you're not familiar with him, really big 80s actor. You know, Lost Boys. The Goonies, Stand By Me, he's in The Burbs.
I think I like him the most in The Burbs. He's funny.
He's great. He's great in The Lost Boys too. Him and Corey Haim are great in that movie. Just like the comic book nerds that know everything.
Oh yeah, and he's what's his name? Mouth in Goonies, right? Mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he was Tommy in Friday the 13th Part 4.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was supposed to take over the franchise, but then he got cast in The Goonies. So. Like, he actually wanted to do Friday the 13th over the Goonies. I think I talked about this already.
I think you talked about that already.
And then Hoyt Axton, who plays Billy's father. He's got a good voice. He narrated kind of the beginning of the movie. He's a fun character. He's a musician from the 70s. Is really more what he's known for. He did a lot of television acting I saw through like the 70s and 80s. I think only like older people, like older generation, like would really recognize him.
Yeah.
Like more like boomers actually.
Well, then, like, because also a lot of these people, just because of their age already, have already, like, passed away.
Yeah.
So,
like
Hoyt, I think, died in 98, 99? 99.
Mm-hmm. And then Dick Miller, who plays their neighbor. He's just, like, in a lot of Joe Dante films. Like he's...
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, like, he just has, like, a bit role. Like, he's always got, like, some type of small supporting role. Like,
Isn't he the truck driver
in Small Soldiers? Yeah. I want to say he's in The Burbs as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's Garbage Man.
Yeah.
He's in The Howling.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So, like, I just found that amusing that him and Joe Dante worked together for a good amount of stuff. I feel like there was somebody else that I saw that worked with... Corey Feldman and, I guess, Chris Columbus with the Goonies have that connection. But yeah, and then I just wanted to point out Key Luke as well, who plays the old Chinese shop owner, who has 229 acting credits. And he played Kato in the Green Hornet movies, which I didn't realize that there was two different... Because Bruce Lee is famous for playing Kato in the Green Hornet TV show. Mm-hmm. And I knew that there was movies made, but I just thought they just had the same actors and it was Bruce Lee as well. No, it was Key Luke. Key Luke played Kato.
Oh,
yeah. So he's one of the few people to ever play Kato. There's only 3 ever: Bruce Lee, Key Luke, and I forget what his name was in the Seth Rogen one, because I don't know if anybody ever watched that.
I watched it twice.
Really? Is it amusing at all? It feels weird to see, like, to think Seth Rogen as Green Hornet.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird movie. I watched it once when it first came out, and then I watched it a second time out of curiosity, and I don't remember it really at all, so it didn't really stick out to me.
Fair.
I guess the one other shout out I wanted to do. Fucking Howie Mandel is the voice of Gizmo, which I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
So actually, the voice actors in general, like Frank Weller.
Frank Weller.
Yeah, Frank Weller, who's like famous.
He's a famous voice actor.
Yeah, he's like done the voice of Scooby-Doo. I want to say Megatron or Optimus. No, Megatron. Yeah, he did the voice of what?
Did you know? This is random. Speaking of just random tangent about Scooby-Doo. Do you know that Matthew Lillard just does Shaggy now for animated stuff? That's just kind of
not anymore, but he did after he got cast. He did it for like 15 years or something. Yeah,
like a lot. Of
he just recently got recast in the new Scooby-Doo stuff.
But I just thought that was kind of insane. But going back
because he did Shaggy so well.
No, yeah, but I just didn't know. I was like, well, actually, what is Matthew Lillard? I just looked it up randomly. I'm like, what has he been doing these days? I'm like, oh, you just been Shaggy for 15 years.
He tried to murder City Prescott and became a stoner with a dog.
Went into the protection program.
So yeah, Howie Mandel, the voice of Gizmo, and Frank Weller, popular. Actually, Frank Weller got Howie Mandel the job to do Gizmo. And if you guys don't know who Howie Mandel is, he's a famous comedian from the 80s. What is the fucking show that he does? The X Factor? He's a host on something?
Oh.
$10,000 Briefcase? What?
I don't really watch that stuff.
Neither do I, but I know he hosts some stuff. I don't think it's the X Factor. It might be the X Factor. I don't know, it's one of those fucking like vote goddamn reality shows that I have talent type
he's on
thing.
Bob Saget's podcast. I didn't know Bob Saget had one.
I would love to listen to that.
It's called Bob Saget's Here for You.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna check out now.
Have you ever seen Bob Saget's stand up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking chaotic as hell.
Yeah, so I'm curious what the podcast would be like.
Yeah. So yeah. Chris. So wanted to just to also shout out to the special effects artist for this, Chris Wallace, because he created and designed the Mogwais, Gizmo, and the Gremlins for this movie. Like we would not have the cute little fucking doll if it wasn't for him. Mm-hmm. And like other than this, he's also really known for doing he did some special effects on actually Piranha with Joe Dante as well.
Okay, big old circle, huh?
Yep. Well, I mean, once you kind of work with somebody in Hollywood and like especially special effects artists, you're gonna try to be like, hey, I really liked this guy. Can we bring him on?
Yeah.
And then he did some work on Dragon Slayer. But he's most, I think, other than probably this, most known for his work on The Fly, where he won an Academy Award for the makeup and special effects.
He's good at gross stuff.
Yeah, he is. And then also like the creature makeup and Enemy Mine, which God, I really want to rewatch that movie. I remember really, really liking it. Oh, and he was also a consultant on stuff for Return of the Jedi. And hasn't really. I mean, he's got stuff up until like 2018, but I think after 91, it looks like he kind of like just retired from it. You know, just, he has a studio, so he probably just has other people running it.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at it. He's done like he did special makeup effects for Virtuosity, which I always like to bring up when it comes up because we're going to do that one day, and I'm very excited. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Should we do Virtuosity and Enemy Mine as a duo? Sure. Just because it's the ones that we always see, they're like, I want to do that.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I also just want to, since I thought of this after you brought up the special effects, I also want to bring up the composer, Jerry Goldsmith.
Yes, thank you. I love the soundtrack to this movie. I always forget how much I love.
It's great.
Oh God, what is it? I always it's like there and then it's not in my head. How does the rhythm go? It's like no, that's Chris. No, God damn it.
Anyways, no, he just does like he just I don't know. He's been a composer for forever. I believe he actually passed away. He passed away in 2004. I gotta have something stuck in my throat. I'm trying to bring it up, but he was like the composer on The Mummy, The 13th Warrior, 2000's Hollow Man, Star Trek Nemesis, a lot of Star Trek he was the composer on. He was also the composer in Looney Tunes Back in Action. There's a lot of just like kind of little friends.
Yeah.
Air Force One, LA Confidential. He's just been around forever, and he's done some really great. And it's one of those looking, I'm like, oh yeah, the music for that. He did Small Soldiers. I don't know if I already said that. He did Mulan.
Oh, cool. Yeah, especially like the music in this, I love it because it's like it's got like an eeriness to it, but it's got like a poppy eeriness to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's.
I was gonna say a nerving whimsical.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
It's really like
just
even the sound effects they do when like the cocoons are hatching. You know, I don't know. I just man, I forgot how good the music is for this. It's really really entertaining.
So the little bit of trivia about this movie is how this movie is one of the two movies, or I guess three movies, that inspired for there to be a PG-13 rating system. Because it used to be just like G, PG, and R.
Yeah.
And then I think it began with Poltergeist in 1982, which is weird to think about that movie. To think Poltergeist is rated PG is fucking...
It is?
Yeah, because it came out in 82 before this happened.
Oh, before July 1st, 84.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So... what ended up happening is Temple of Doom, or no, was it Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Temple of Doom.
Yeah, Temple of Doom, thank you. Temple of Doom.
Just think about what's the one scene in there that...
Kalima!
It's like the dude rips out a guy's heart. It's like not only does he rip out the guy's heart, you see the heart in his hand. It's not implied. It's very clearly...
It's also a very large heart. A human heart isn't that big.
You even see it go through... Yeah, now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, how did they get away with that?
Well, how did they get away with a face melting in Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Fair.
Like, all right.
Is Last Crusade the only one that doesn't really have a scene like that?
No, because when he drinks the thing, he
fucking disintegrates.
Yeah.
Okay. I just realized all three of those movies have a really cool like bad guy death scene kind of thing.
So yeah, it was because of Temple of Doom, which came out literally a month before this. It came out in May, or actually, no, they're like a couple of weeks from each other.
Well, the reason that this was Gremlins wasn't a Christmas movie is because they didn't have a summer blockbuster to compete with Ghostbusters and Temple of Doom. So they ended up moving the date.
But this is both produced by Spielberg. So why would it matter? Why would they want to compete against? Why would Spielberg want to compete against himself?
I don't know. That's what I was reading.
Really?
That's why they changed it.
That's really interesting. So they originally did want this to be a holiday movie.
Yeah, originally it was supposed to be a holiday movie.
I love it. But yeah, so Indiana Jones Temple of Doom came out, and then a couple weeks later, Gremlins came out, and parents were taking their kids to Gremlins, thinking because like it looked like it's gonna be a cute Gizmo was like promoted and whatnot. And they're like, oh, it's gonna be a cute family movie with that little creatures that are gonna be cute and adorable. And lo and behold, murder and mayhem take place in this movie. And so people that were upset were like, we need well, I think it was Spielberg.
Oh, it's because Warner Brothers did Gremlins, Paramount did Temple of Doom.
Oh, okay.
So the studios
it was different studios.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Spielberg then suggested to the MPAA rating system, or MPAA, to have a ratings, another rate between PG and R of PG something that then they came up with PG-13, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, and it's also because Spielberg was worried about like post that Gremlins would get an R rating.
Yeah,
he was like, no, don't want an R rating on there. Like, no.
Like it's like we do want this to be more like we want like younger people to see. We want it to feel family still.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I mean, this movie could be redone and just be, I don't know, maybe it should have been R. I think it may have been better if it was R. No, because then it may have maybe gone over the top. The original script was a lot darker, I read.
Yeah, I was reading that too. Well, I don't know. Like, it's one of those, do I bring it up now or bring it up later? There is talks about a reboot of the franchise.
They're making Gremlins 3. That's what's happening.
Yeah. But at first, Chris...
Columbus?
Oh, no. Joe Dante and Chris Columbus were in, like, an interview, and they were talking about it. They first didn't want to do it because they felt like in today's day and age, losing the puppets would lose a lot of the iconic creature feature aspect of it.
Well, and also a little bit with that as well as like a lot of the, Chris Wallace, he wanted the puppets to be bigger for the filming and whatnot, so they'd be easier like animatronic to control. But Joe Dante was like, no, I want to keep them all small because I want to keep, like, especially for the Mogwai, Gizmo specifically, wanted him to remain as cute as possible. You know, so like there was like all these little, they made like a bunch of little puppets that would just like fall apart on them pretty much. But
but then in like 2018, they were also in a conversation about like now with the way kind of just cinematography, like the film industry is, you could do Gremlins, but you could now do it way darker like they initially wanted to. Like the audience would be more receptive of because a really dark comedy. Because
a big thing that about like this movie also has a history of being like one of like the more earlier commercially successful dark comedies.
Well, yeah, and like now in 2020,
like almost one. Yeah, we're in 2021.
I couldn't remember what year it was, but like now in 2021, a Gremlins dark comedy I would be so on board for, because I just think like, I mean, like we were talking about, what was it, last week or the week? I can't remember what we were talking about. Like Tuck and Dale versus Evil.
Oh yeah,
like that kind of humor, but Gremlins. I'm like, let's do that. That sounds awesome.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, this movie kind of pioneered that in a lot of ways. Was there? Oh yeah. Just quick, also a little movie trivia. They originally, before they were testing for like puppets with the Gremlins, they tested with monkeys and gremlin masks, and the monkeys were not very receptive to being put with a mask, like having a gremlin mask on them. That. And so they're like, all right, plan B.
That's funny.
Like, could you imagine if they tried to like force going through with like a bunch of monkeys in weird gremlin masks, how one awful that movie would have come out as, because they would, the limited filming they could do with that.
Yeah.
And two, those poor monkeys.
Well, I was reading too that Gizmo and Stripe.
Yep, Stripe, not Strike.
Not Spike.
Spike, whatever.
Spike. Stripe were supposed to be the same creature. Like Gizmo was supposed to turn into the bad guy.
Yeah.
Which also I think would have made the movie kind of lose a little bit of quality.
I can't remember if I read that was a Dante thing that he wanted to keep it, or it was Spielberg that wanted to keep Gizmo as Gizmo. And because Gizmo was too cute. It could have been either or.
It was Spielberg, actually.
It was Spielberg?
That
That's what I-
suggested, like, because he was like, that keeps it more of a family element.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you had turned Gizmo into Stripe, it would have become just, again, like just a creature feature.
Yeah.
But having Gizmo as like the hero gives it more of like, hey, the little cute guy's
The
gonna save the day.
unsuspecting hero in a big way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're not really expecting Gizmo to really do anything. It's not, Gizmo doesn't become the badass until Gremlins 2 when he goes Rambo Gizmo.
And it's like Spielberg gives you suggestion and he's producing it. I think you just kind of have to
Yeah,
go with
right.
it.
He's like, I think. Could you imagine the conversation with Chris Columbus? Is like, I don't know. I can't. It's like I feel like the metamorphosis because of like. And Spielberg's like, no. I think it would be better.
What's that
It's
scene?
my opinion.
It's the scene from fucking Austin Powers Goldmember.
Which one?
Remember that whole thing where it's like they're like making the movie and it's Tom Cruise playing Austin Powers and John Travolta playing Goldmember. Remember that whole thing that they did
At the very end?
Well, the very beginning and the very
Oh,
end.
yeah. I mean, vaguely, but like,
then Austin Powers makes some like kind of critique about it, and then Spielberg turns around. He's like in the director's chair. He's like, "Oh, really?" Something like, "Oh, yeah, you really think that?" And then he holds up like an Oscar, and he goes,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Kind of like, That's like that would be the
It's kind of
interaction.
he's like
the feeling of like,
he's like, oh yeah. How are my Oscars? Do they need to get shined? They seem a little dusty. Can we get somebody in here to clean those? So, Chris, what were we talking about again?
You want to try that again? I'll do it again. So yeah.
Do you want to go into your reviews that you got?
Yeah. Let's see.
So you want to do that first one, acting one first, or whatever?
Oh,
we're talking
yeah.
about like, yeah.
So this is Variety, staff not credited. I looked at it and it's just from. They didn't actually put the author's name on it. The humans are little more than dress extras for the mechanics.
Yeah,
which is kind of like the thing.
Nobody really cares about the story of Billy in this. It's more about Gizmo and what the Gremlins do.
Yeah,
like really literally, like as every time I watch it, I'm like waiting, like let's get to the Gremlins. Let's get to the Gremlins.
Well, it's also like,
but I also want to see the story leading up to it, But yeah,
it's kind of like also I find myself saying, what is going to be the Gremlins' most creative kill? Kind of like a Zombieland kind of thing, kill of the week kind of thing. So this had 9 positive, 3 mixed, 1 negative on Metacritic. First one.
Who dare speak negative? Sorry.
There's one. So.
Yeah, I know.
And that's interesting too because it kind of goes back into the PG-13 thing. So starting off with Michael Willington by the Chicago Tribune, a horror comedy about cute little Christmas toys / pets who turn into murderous monsters wreaking havoc on a Norman Rockwellian town. There's a moral there someplace. See, that's like even with mine too. It's like it's kind of hard to. I think I got to go back to like the 5, the really short one. Yeah. Vincent Canby, New York Times. Gremlins is far more interested in showing off its knowledge of movie lore and making random jokes than in providing consistent entertainment. Unfortunately, it's funniest when being most nasty.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like he's not wrong, but it's like, are these reviews from like when it came out? Do you know if they're premiere? Okay, cool. I mean, okay, so that kind of makes it's like because I could see like, and this movie has stood the test of time because I think it's just gotten it's aged well. Like it'll like
I was like, wow. I mean, I really enjoyed it. But
I
was like,
there's definitely some uncomfortable things said in like beginning of the movie. But I mean,
even aesthetically,
I mean,
too.
like comedic wise, this movie. I don't want to say like a fine wine, but it's aged like a wine,
like a good table wine. Well, I was gonna say because it's also because of it being 84, it's still in that transition period from the 70s to the 80s.
Yeah,
even fashion and everything.
Yeah,
hasn't really.
It's like the 80s are really kind of becoming the 80s at this time.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say with this review too, I get it because, and that's what I was saying, being surprised about where it landed, like box office wise and everything, because of the whole PG rating. A lot of people like went into it thinking, because even Spielberg, like he had a lot more like a hands-on to this than I realized. But even then, when they made the trailer, they showed very little of Gizmo and the Gremlins, and it was really just, hey, this kid gets this mysterious creature that causes havoc. Ooh, what's going to happen?
Axton really narrating it.
Yeah. And so a lot of people went in taking their small children thinking it was going to be this fun family thing, not realizing it was going to be. So that's why I'm like, I'm kind of surprised it did as well as it did. Yeah, you know. And then, yeah, so it's just, I don't know. So it's kind of like interesting that like people were leaving the theater because it was probably terrified their children.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, and there's like, you're coming.
Because like even my partner, who is a full-fledged adult now, was like, I don't want to watch it. They creep me out. I was like, all right, you don't have to watch it. Last one, again, uncredited, but it was a TV Guide staff. Dante gleefully trashes cliches and sentimental Capra-esque notions. But one should not forget this movie was given a PG rating and cynically aimed to draw an audience of small children who would no doubt be terrorized by this myth-shattering film. But it's also like, well, there was no other rating to give it besides R at the time.
Yeah.
So,
and it's definitely not
I don't think
R.
it deserves an R.
No. Because like, if they would have actually leaned in more to like the gore of and showing like the kills of the Gremlins, like all of the Gremlins kills are off screen, well ish, except for Mrs. Deagle,
which is
who
like
fucking deserves it.
But that's also like the coolest kill.
Yeah.
It's very Gremlin. Hey, let's mess with this older woman's elevator chair. That's a very Gremlin
they're
kill.
so fucking Looney Tunes. Yeah, we'll get into that. All right, well, with those reviews, I guess here comes like Christmas. Is it a Christmas movie, or do you have another?
Oh, we've just kind of panned over this. Yeah, like we already kind of said, it was a commercially success. Budget of $11 million, ended up making $148 million worldwide.
Yeah.
So it actually did pretty good.
It did really good.
Which I'm very
number 4.
I'm so surprised. I'm very surprised.
All right, so is it a Christmas
Hell
movie?
fucking yes.
Really?
Yeah.
You think this is a Christmas movie over Die Hard?
Uh-huh.
Tell me why.
It's just everything about it is just way. It revolves like completely around Christmas. There's like a lot more Christmas music. There's a whole Santa story. There's Gizmo's a Christmas present to his son.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is there's a Christmas tree attacks the mom. Like it's. She cuts open a stocking. Just visually, it's just more of a
What's
Christmas
the Christmas miracle?
They don't die. Under overwhelming odds, they don't die.
For me, this is definitely a movie I like to watch around Christmas. But when it comes down to like the idea of a Christmas movie, I like even as like unconventional Christmas movie, it's a horror movie that happens on Christmas. To me, I don't think it's really a Christmas movie. I like to watch it around Christmas because of the Christmas element.
Yeah, so it's
because I also don't like Christmas, to be honest with you. I said it.
That's
out
fine.
there.
I don't care. You're not the minority in that one. A
Yeah,
lot of
I know.
people don't like Christmas.
But yeah, it's is it about family? Or is there just a family that happens to be in it?
No, yeah, because like we were saying too, it's like all the human characters are really just there to be, I guess, terrorized by these creatures. Mm-hmm. So it's really just about, I mean, you could put anyone in that role. Blank needs to fight gremlins, you know?
Is there any redemption arc for anybody that's been either...
There's revenge.
There is revenge. Like when it comes down to like all like the like necessary qualities of like what people consider a Christmas movie, it doesn't fit any of them. And I like this movie is just more of a creature feature, but I can see why people like to watch it around Christmas because it is like it has the Santa story and whatnot, which is a very dark fucking Santa story.
Yeah, it's apparently like
which apparently they didn't want. Spielberg didn't want it in the movie.
Yeah, but it was like kind of Dante felt like it was kind of pivotal to the theme of the movie.
I feel like it's more like it actually just kind of it does kind of like stick out like a sore thumb. Like I don't know how it really helps the story move forward at all, except for helping with Phoebe Cates' character just become more of a solidified, flushed out character.
Yeah, but
I also got to give a lot of props with this. She's actually she is, even without that, she is more of a flushed out character, and her role isn't just there to be for Billy. Like,
yeah,
I think she actually has like her own like stuff. It's like they just happen to be falling in love at this time.
Yeah, it's like it was kind of interesting too. Is that is already very much a seed that is placed. It already shows that they kind of have a flirtatious kind of... They obviously kind of dig each other, but no one's made the first move kind of thing. So it's not like, oh, they're two strangers and then this horrible situation makes them fall in love. It's like, no, they were already kind of vibing off each other.
Yeah, he already asked her out before hell all broke loose.
Well, even when they first are... Because they both work at a bank together. Even then, there's this kind of like little flirtatious moment, and then
with the sweet music in the background.
Yeah, and then there's the scene at the bar. You know, it's like obviously they kind of sweet
what's
on each
interesting actually about this movie is that as it like sets up with everything, it leads like it has very much like a Christmas movie feel with like Mrs. Deagle's going to be like, you know, the villain, the Scrooge of it through all of this thing.
When she's talking to the people that are broke.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, then you know what to ask for Santa for Christmas. You know,
she's
great.
Horrendous.
She's awesome. I thought she was actually one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah, because she's such a character. Yeah,
she's such a.
But like it's leading in that way until then the Gremlins come. You know what? It's a Christmas movie until the Gremlins show up, and then as Gremlins do, they throw it off of course.
There you go. That's a good way of putting it. It 100% starts off as a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
because even then, like in a weird way, if you could have like, bear with me here. So just for a second, so let's just make it about Mogwai, right? Mm-hmm. You could have made this like a family fun little adventure about this cute little creature named Gizmo that Billy gets, and little like fun hijinks happen with him. Like he's a little mischievous. You make him like get into trouble.
Make it actual like more like a Mogwai, like the actual traditional idea of a Mogwai.
Yeah, and Billy has to save it.
If people don't know, the traditional idea of a Mogwai is like it is an Eastern, like more Chinese. Mythological creature, like they translate to like little demon, and they're mischievous, kind of like what Gremlins are as well, but Gremlins are more of a Western mythology.
Yeah, I think it was started by the British Air Force.
Oh, in World War II?
In World War II.
Well, yeah, because that's what there's neighbors talking about. It's like the Gremlins that were on the planes.
Yeah, and like Gremlins were very much like, you know, like they'd hide in your... They were like a... maybe
they would hide in your engines or like on the wings of your plane.
I think that I consider propaganda. I'm not really sure what you would consider them.
Yeah, but let's go back. You were just saying like Mogwai was doing mischievous stuff.
So like
Gizmo,
if you kept
hijinks,
if you had fun little hijinks, then the Christmas theme would have continued and would have been 100% a Christmas movie about this kid getting.
Maybe because of Gizmo, nobody like he has to hide Gizmo, and nobody believes that Gizmo's there, and Gizmo's ruining everything for him, and
he's ruining Christmas.
Yeah, and
he burns the cookies. Yeah. He eats all the cookies, and then Billy gets you know what I mean? Billy gets blamed for it, and he's like, "It's not me, I swear, it's."
And then the Christmas miracles, you know, Gizmo's real or whatever. Yeah. It could have been a lot cuter, but then no, it's like then. He gets wet and just everything derails.
Yes, that's interesting. Yeah, like so. Yeah, it starts off as a Christmas movie, and then, like you said, in fashion of a gremlin, it destroys and wreaks havoc on everything. So to me, this is 100% a Christmas movie that just.
I feel like just like kind of walking down that road. All right, yeah, I'm more on board with like back into okay, it's kind of a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So.
I really enjoyed this again.
Dude, I love this movie. I love Gizmo. Literally, whenever he's on screen and he's like doing his like singing, purring thing, I'm literally just like glowing. I'm like, I love him. He's so cute. He's so adorable.
I think my favorite is when he hurts his head and he's his little lip is quivering. Like, oh, you're cute.
Also, I love the actors didn't have like anything to actually respond to from the puppets, like noise wise. Like I think they knew in the script, like when like at the very end, it's like and like that stuff. But like Howie Mandel and Frank Welker and like all of the other voice actors that they added into this, they were responding to like the reels that they were like watching. Like they were just doing voiceover stuff of like what they would assume that would be happening and whatnot. I want to see the very eerie, silent filming of like the Gremlins as they're laughing, just like You know,
that made me think of. I've always wanted to see like kind of like a behind the scenes of Look Who's Talking.
Oh, with the baby, and when they're just like talking with the baby, and then they're just
Or like what? Because then watch Bruce Willis watching the film,
Yeah.
like figuring out like how to like deliver the line.
Because like that was probably got to be like a lot of improv from him.
Did we bring up Look Who's Talking when we did Fifth Element? Or
We talked
Die Hard?
We've kind of a little bit. We always kind of bring it up.
Okay.
Where was I guess, yeah. So, all right. So yeah, we're agreeing more of a Christmas movie than.
Yes, I convinced you.
Well, I kind of convinced myself. Thank you very much.
I don't know. Let the audience decide.
It's true. I mean, fuck. Do we want to go down? Do we want to just kind of talk about this movie and like how bonkers it is?
It was funny. I had this, like, it was so weird when I saw a stripe. Okay. Did we already talk about that?
What?
That Mandela effect of why we keep calling him Spike?
I think we talked about it on an episode a while ago, like when we were like right before we did the Mogwai Awards. Because I remember Indigo pointing it at like
mentioning
it. Yeah.
So basically, in case no one else has listened, the reason we keep calling him Stripe or Spike is because in the script and in the movie, he is known as Stripe, the bad guy, because he has a little
hair
stripe, a stripe, a mohawk, a mohawk of stripe. Don't say mohawk because that will also get confusing. I'll explain in a second. So he has a little tuft of hair that's like a mohawk, but it's a stripe going down the back of his head, so they call him Stripe. We keep calling him Spike, and the reason is because years later they released T-shirts with Spike on it,
and it was Stripe as the gremlin,
but they were calling him Spike.
Yeah.
So they kind of created their own Mandela effects because there are people that know him as Stripe and others that know him as Spike.
It's not really a Mandela effect because it's acknowledged. Because if it was a Mandela effect,
it just naturally happens. Like people just do it on their own.
I guess it could be kind of a Mandela effect. But like the weird thing with like a Mandela effect is like everybody remembers the Bernstein Bears, like Stiein at the end, but you can't find a copy or a book that says Bernstein. It all says Bernstein now. Apparently they've always been the Bernstein Bears, but they were the Bernstein Bears when I was a kid.
But that's even the thing is generationally too. So for some people with this situation, he is going to be Stripe. For people of another generation later, when they made those shirts,
I guess
it'd be Spike.
Yeah. So like there's existence of both, which but since there's existence of both, that's kind of weird. Where it's like
is it technically that? Yeah,
because like the hit, like why it's called the Mandela effect, right? Okay. It took you so long for me to get you to understand that.
No, I thought that was that, and what was the other one? I still don't.
You still don't get Deus Ex Machina.
No, I don't understand that at all. But then, so I had this really clear memory of what Stripe looked like, and when I saw him, I was like, I'm so confused because I thought Stripe had black fur because that's Mohawk and Gremlins 2, the new batch. I was so confused at what the fuck was going on.
And Mohawk, he ends up actually having like the Spike Mohawk. Well, he turns like the weird spider thing.
Yeah, he becomes like a spider creature.
Oh man, that's terrifying.
The Gremlins in that one are way more.
Well, because they become genetically modified, which I think is cool.
They're smart.
They did a really good job making a sequel, actually, in my opinion. I know it doesn't have as high as a rating, but like it definitely they leaned more into like the animosity and the antics of the Gremlins, and like having them like be able to evolve was really cool.
It was cool. I mean, but anytime you do that and like genetically modifying something to make it more grotesque is always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a distinct memory of what Mohawk, the noise it made once it became like a spider creature.
I don't.
I have like this. It's in the back of my head. I can kind of hear it. And it's very distinct. It's kind of like I don't know. I can't describe it. You just got to watch it. But so if we say Spike or Stripe, we are talking about the same individual.
We were talking about Stripe. We're going to try to say Stripe this entire time, though.
Stripe.
But we're still going to call it Spike on our awards. Well, all right. So I mean, this movie is literally like waiting around for the Gremlins to really show up in a big way. I feel.
Yeah.
Especially like how much like little bits of like story that's introduced at the beginning that just kind of just dropped. Like, so the beginning of the movie it starts off with their dad I can't remember the character's name. Now I need to pull up that IMDb page so I can actually say characters' names.
Randall Peltzer.
So Randall, he's in Chinatown.
He's an inventor,
which I love that his inventions just are all debauchery. Just not debauchery. That's not the right word. Just failures, pretty much.
They're all real cool ideas, but just not executed properly.
Yeah.
You know,
when the toothpaste has to be like, that'll just wipe right off.
It's fine.
Yeah. Just like, and how much he just believes in him, and also how much his wife believes in him too.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, no, it's a really sweet family.
Yeah.
Also, how the fuck do they afford everything? He's obviously not making any money. Although they talk about Billy's paying for everything right now. But anyway, he stumbles upon in Chinatown, like a vintage shop, and that's really, this all feels very racist. Honestly, it's very 80s. Like, this is making it look like a weird China, like creepiness. I'm like, this all feels weird. Especially, I forget what he says, but he's like, he talks about like brushing your teeth. He's like, get rid of that dragon's breath. Gong. I mean, bad breath. Like, it's like, realize, are you saying dragon because you're next to a Chinese guy?
Well, you gotta give it some kind of like a point that he realized it.
Yeah. Also, the gong in the background is kind of like, what just happened?
It's like they try to make it like this natural moment, but it's like you still wrote it and you still had him say it. So,
he ends up he hears Gizmo. The old Chinese owner doesn't want to sell it. His young grandson, who looks a lot like a short round from Indiana Jones, still wearing a New York Mets hat, or a New York hat, just inverted colors, and like he essentially he ends up getting it. That's what I'm trying to say.
The grandson steals it, basically.
Steals it and sells it, and the kid tells the three important rules, which also, why am I forgetting? Why did I roll that? Randall's kind of like, in his like narration, kind of like, whatever, kid. And it's like, yeah, this is important. Like,
yeah, the three rules are no bright lights or sunlight, because sunlight will kill them. Mm-hmm. Don't get them wet. And don't feed them at the midnight. And no one ever asks why, which really drives me nuts.
And also the age-old time, at what time zone at midnight? Like, what?
I'm not getting into that one. Well, like I kept.
We've had that conversation enough times.
Well, the whole like thing too that killed me the most out of everything is like, I can take everything until you would say don't give it water. What kind of living? This thing's like it looks like a mammal. What mammal doesn't need water? Yeah.
Also, like we were talking about, it's like, even like Randall, and he's like, oh, that's a cute little creature. Not like, what the fuck is in this box?
What is that?
He's like, it's not, there's no like, what is that or anything. It's like, oh, that's cute. I want to bring this home to my son. Like, okay.
But then also, like, I guess if you're going to ask the time zone question, another question to ask too is like, is it liquid?
No, because at the very end, when the mom's like, oh, how you feeling, Gizmo? You hungry?
Give you chicken soup.
Let me make some chicken soup for you. I'm like, there's water in that.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
That's liquid. Soup is a liquid. Don't get it wet. How do you get something wet? By putting liquid on it.
Yeah, but it's like orange juice okay?
And then wait, is grease okay? Like, why isn't the liquid from like the chicken wings like doing anything?
Yeah, there's a lot of rules that don't make sense.
Yeah, well, it's movies. It's a movie magic. It's
the carrot.
Mogwais are it's the carrot, and also Mogwais are a magical creature, and they have their own rules. But yeah, so he ends up taking it home, but you get introduced to Billy, who's like really. So we get our hidden introduction to Gizmo, for establishing what some part of this world, and then we get introduced to Billy, who you can tell like he's a nice, sweet kid. Just kind of like,
how old are they supposed to be? Oh, they're in their 20s.
Yeah, right? They're supposed to be. Yeah, because they're already working at the bank and whatnot.
I appreciated that too, that they were a little bit older.
And they weren't teenagers.
Yeah, like in high school or whatever.
I mean, he still kind of has a teenage mindset, but I mean, small town, your 20s, Arrested Development, whatever. So you get. He's like, his Volkswagen is, not working. You can tell, like, this family is just like, they're really nice. They're really sweet. They're really not, they're making the best of, their situation.
Yeah.
But they still live in a very nice, cushy house, it looks like. Well, and I mean, it's the 80s. They could have bought that house for $1,000. Neighbor next door, who is Dave Miller, Dick Miller, Mr. Futterman, who's like the snowplow guy of the town. You know, kind of establishes with him, you know, like, oh, Billy's an artist and da-da-da-da-da. Billy has a sweet dog, Barney, played by the dog named Mushroom.
That's an awesome name for a dog.
Right? I was like, oh, okay. He's like kind of running late for work because his car's not starting, and you can tell, like, you know, just he's always like Sisyphus. He's like always climbing uphill type thing. Mm-hmm. And he gets into the bank, and I really like the introduction of Phoebe Cates' character because like there was the music of like the like quirkiness with Billy, and then the key change to her introduction, and now it's all sweet music, and she's like, "Will you sign this for me? Like we got a petition for blah 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 blah." And then we also where are we going from?
Well, I like that too with the...
Oh, this is when Miss Deagle gets introduced to the real gremlin.
Mr. Futterman and goddamn foreign cars.
Oh, yeah. And then we get... So this is where it's like we were talking about. It's like this feels like it's a Christmas movie because you feel like the Christmas Scrooge, who would... Like they would have like the warm heart, like the ice on their heart would like melt by the end of the movie type thing.
Yeah.
She comes in because she accuses Billy's dog of destroying her like snowman ornament.
Bulgarian Christmas snowman.
It's like also how
statue.
Like how do you know? Like and also how like. What, like,
I think that's what's implying. She just hates the dog, so it doesn't matter. Like
she broke it on her. Oh no, she only owns cats. It looks like so. Like she's a cat. She's a crazy cat lady.
Rich crazy cat lady.
Yeah. And she threatens to kill the dog. And like the dog's like feeling the animosity, and he jumps out from underneath Billy's fucking desk and like attacks her and whatever and blah 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 blah. We get Gerald, who's injured, like, which I find amusing.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes. I was like, hey, what's his name for Fast Time? Who made out with Phoebe Cates. Okay. Well, he dreamt about breaking out with Phoebe Cates.
Well, he made out with.
Yeah, Phoebe. Yeah. Well, yeah. And he's just a slime ball because you go back, you fast forward to the bar.
He's a yuppie. He's an 80s.
But the way he's like asking her out and like being all gross about it, it's just like, ugh.
Well, I like how he goes, "We're talking cable." Like it's like some fucking like monetary aphrodisiac kind of thing.
Like,
it's like what?
It's like I'm talking Netflix. Like I'm
basically like
I'm unplugged from the cable. And like she's working at the bank and working for free at this bar for who is that? Do they explain if it's her dad or her uncle?
No, her dad's dead. Remember?
Oh yeah, so it's like her uncle. It's like someone, or it's
just like some kind of family relation,
or just like someone that the family cares for, like a close family friend or something. Yeah. So
I didn't really catch who that was supposed to be.
I feel like that was kind of like also that was like what the petition was for as well, is to save the bar.
Yeah.
So like this bar is very important to her. And gets destroyed. But fast forward, finally Billy gets Gizmo.
Yeah, Dad finally shows, because Dad, since he is like an inventor, he's always going across the country trying to sell his patents to different companies to like mass produce this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then so Dad, that's how he ends up like getting. And
he's only stopping in for like a couple of days because he's got like another convention
to go to.
convention, which there's so many Easter eggs in those little cutscenes of him on that phone booth.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
It's been a long enough time that I wouldn't have caught any of those really. Like this was my first time really realizing how amusing those scenes were with the weird shit. Like
the robot from Lost in Space.
The time machine that literally disappears.
I didn't notice that.
Well, oh man. Well, just really quick. So it's like, the movie The Time Machine.
Yeah.
So the original one from like the 60s.
Uh-huh.
Like what the time machine looked like had like the giant metal plate in the background that spun, and it was kind of more like a bike in a weird way.
I only know it from
Big Bang Theory.
No, from the Time Machine with
like the 2000s one.
Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
That's in it. Yeah.
Okay, so you don't know what the old one looks like. Okay, so the first time that
Oh wait, yeah, I do.
you know what I'm talking
Yeah, I know
about
what
now?
you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so the first time that Randall's on the phone, there's someone behind him on that thing, and they're like kind of like they're getting it started and whatnot, and it cuts to the mom talking in the kitchen, and it cuts back to him, and it's gone.
Oh really?
And there's smoke kind of clearing out, and the two people that were like standing next to the person watching and write it are looking around confused,
Like, where did he go?
like feeling the ground, like what? And I saw that, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding
That's
me?"
funny.
Like that was one of the most hilarious. Like I had to pause the movie and just like process that for a second. Like it was one of those things where I kind of want to like pull it. I want to like put it onto YouTube. Like, does anybody else realize this? Like that could be a TikTok. Like anybody else see that? What the fuck? All right. Anywho, so Billy gets Gizmo.
Yeah, and then it just kind of goes through cute little pet, like he's getting to know him.
Yeah.
Like,
Corey Feldman shows up to drop up. I think his name is Pete, to drop off their Christmas tree, and literally like no, it's like it is kind of weird, just like how accepting everybody just is of this little tiny creature that shouldn't exist.
Well,
Like,
then followed with these rules that no one questions.
yeah, well, and then like just how Lucy like like it is a freak accident of how Gizmo does get wet the first time, and this is leading to that.
Well, even then, they're like that whole thing happened. So like, yeah, he gets water knocked onto him, and Gizmo starts screeching and like having like a fit.
Oh yeah, every time there's like anytime. Also, I love the
Oh yeah, and these weird little fur balls start popping off of him, and they start to like pulsate and get bigger and bigger, and so they start. When you get them wet, we find out that they produce more Mogwai, and even
this
then
creates a litter.
And then Corey Feldman does like a head count. So now altogether we have Gizmo and then another 5. So we have 6. And then Corey Feldman goes like, it's like bored. He goes,
Yeah, he's like, it was like, well, that was cool, whatever. Let me go read this newspaper over here now.
like, I'm going to read this 3D comic
It's like,
book.
you just witnessed a miracle, kid.
There's your miracle. Yeah. No, but he even goes like almost sarcastically, like, no, really, it's neat. No, I really mean it. And goes to reading the comic book. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with all these people? And also, they're from they're
This is like Midwest.
they're in Hill Valley.
Yeah. Wait, that's like Midwest, right?
Hill Valley? No, Back to the Future, bro.
Oh, shit.
It's the same town.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah, it's Hill. They're in Hill Valley, but with snow. So they're in Midwest nowhere. Where presumably from both these movies, nothing really exciting happens. That's the whole point. Y'all should be. This is also 84. There's no Google. Like
you should be amazed by everything.
You should be amazed by this shit.
You haven't learned the technology yet. Sorry.
It's just like that's the one thing about, not the one thing, but that's one of the things that really irritates me. It's just everyone's so nonchalant about
until, and then even like once the Gremlins do take over, like then people are just like, no, it's not happening. It's like chaos ensue. But yeah, okay. So yeah, Billy he's like, well, like he's like, you know, they find out he takes Gizmo then to what, like the middle school science teacher, like.
Who else are you gonna take him to?
I mean, the high school science teacher. He's got a better relationship with this guy, apparently. So he's got one of the science teachers around, and he's like, let me show you this cool thing.
Let me put more water on it.
Hey, look what happens when I do a drop of water. It's like, what the fuck were the rules, dude?
Don't do that. Not do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Also, I do want to point out also, Gizmo, he's sad when he sees that he's multiplied. Yeah. Because he's aware of like what's gonna happen.
Do you think that Gizmo is just like in a sense for the Mogwai?
He's a black sheep of them.
I was gonna say, like, do you think he was just born different and doesn't really have that mean streak?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I literally think. Maybe he was.
Or is he like the original one?
I don't know if possibly, but even definitely some type of like nature versus nurture, raised in a culture of like positivity and like sees what happens when, you know, other ones coming around, or yeah, just the black sheep of like of a Mogwai, you know, just like good natured as opposed to, you know, because he doesn't really want to like to do any hijinks. He just wants to chill and watch TV.
Yeah,
you know,
he's a very chill pet.
Yeah, just like little fucking buddy.
Well, yeah, like. And then he becomes sad, and then you notice that these other Mogwai are they're a little more
fucking shits.
Yeah, they're more mischievous and have a little edge to them.
Yeah, especially Stripe,
who like
he's like I like how immediately like as soon as they all come out, they're just like all looking around like, oh, we're alive, huh? We're existing, and Billy's like, oh, he seems to be the leader of them. It's like,
yeah, it's like implying, well, this is going to be the bad guy of the movie, like the main bad guy. This is going to be the anti-Gizmo.
And so at the high school, yeah, he you know, pops another one out. Gizmo's not happy. It's like, this looks painful, Billy. Let's stop doing this to him.
Yeah, for real.
And the science teacher's like, mind if I keep this one to do some experiments on? You're a 7th grade high school, or you're a 7th grade science teacher. What experiments do you know?
You don't know what his background is.
I don't give a shit. You're in Hill Valley, sir.
I guess we can just fast forward to.
I think it's well. I mean, I do want to point out like there is the quick little like the first night that they are sleeping. That's first night the hijinks that comes around is they string up the dog in the Christmas lights
as like a distraction to break the clock.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not to, no, because that's after midnight already when Barney is strung up. I think they just did that while Billy was gone. They just made sure to break it before midnight.
Oh, I thought the whole dog thing was so that he could.
No, that's just showing they're mischievous. It's establishing that they're not good at heart, good natured like Gizmo.
I like my idea better.
Sure, whatever. But I mean, it is all leading up to pretty much that, to where they're like asking, they're like, they want food, and Billy looks at his clock and it's like, what, 11? It's like 5 minutes to midnight. It's like you're cutting it pretty close.
It was like 11:45. I was
Yeah.
like, still too close for comfort. You
Yeah.
should have done it like a couple hours ago.
Yeah. Well, he even says like, I already fed you guys or whatever, I think. But also just happens to have like a full plate of chicken wings in their fucking fridge. Like, who, like, I would have eaten those way before that.
Yeah, he feeds them chicken wings and then wakes up the next morning, and now
they're in the pupal stage.
the pupil stage.
Yeah, they're in eggs, waiting to hatch. And then also the little Mogwai at the high school or middle school or whatever, the doctor just... Also, Billy doesn't tell the guy the rules.
No, he does not.
But
also the teacher just is eating like a sandwich, realizes like 2 a.m. is like time to go to bed, and just leaves his sandwich sitting on the counter.
Guys, like, take care of your shit. That's how you get ants.
He made sure to bring his chips, but he left the sandwich, and the Mogwai in the cage gets a hold of it. So then he's also going through his phase.
And I guess there's kind of like a day happens.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember just like what Billy does during all that time.
I don't remember. Whatever.
That's when the dad and the mom have their conversation, and I remember that I saw the time machine disappear. But yeah, pretty much while Billy's out, Billy's going back to the school to check on the teacher and like, and check on the egg and whatnot. And this is also like the gremlin that's come out there has killed the teacher. Yeah,
and that's when Billy realizes that there are 5 more of them at home.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't kill that one at the school, does he? That one like escapes.
I think that one just escapes. I think it becomes part of the grand.
Yeah, and like attacks Billy, and that's actually kind of like this. This is when the horror of the movie begins, actually.
So then Billy realizes that there's all these that like now with his mom at the house, so he calls her, and she has already like found.
She kills 3 of them.
She kills 4 of them.
No, Billy kills the last one.
Okay, 4 of them die. That's true. Billy calls. I actually thought this scene was great.
It's so good.
For like, it was kind of out of nowhere, but they did it really well. Billy calls and is like warning mom, get out of the house, and they then pull the phone lines, and then there's just like a good 10-minute scene of they're just kind of fucking with her.
Do you see what I see?
Yeah, like turning on like music, making little noises here and there, and she ends up going upstairs and seeing that these cocoons have hatched, so she becomes very aware that there's something in there with her.
Yeah,
and grabs like a kitchen knife.
Yeah,
and is like, I was like, go mom, and then proceeds to kill 3 of them. First one's in the mixer. Blender. Second one, she just stabs like repeatedly. Third one, she pans it into the microwave.
Yeah.
And then does that.
Did you notice that while the one in the microwave was like exploding, the one that she had stabbed was still like twitching in the background?
Yeah, I did notice that. And then she goes into the living room and sees something in the stocking and stabs the stocking. She's like not fucking around.
Yeah, I know.
Ends up being like a toy. And then as she backs up, I didn't realize that the first time I seen it. As she backs up,
eyes.
You see glowing red eyes behind her, and the last gremlin is like pretty brutally like attacking her.
Yeah.
But then Billy ends up showing up and saving her by hitting it into the fireplace.
With the swords that were just hanging on the wall, which, I mean, no. Yeah, that's 4.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So like pretty much like it immediately sets up like there's like it's no longer a Christmas movie. Now we're in a crazy horror movie. And that these gremlins have like an awareness of their surroundings and a knowledge of the world that they're in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they understand how to use technology. Like they understand, like it's like already like it's a weird like Looney Tunes type thing.
Well, it could also, like, I mean, if you want to, like, try to put an explanation to it, too, they are a spawn of Gizmo, so maybe there's, like, some collective knowledge kind of thing.
Yeah, like a genetic memory mimesis type thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, and then Stripe, does he just run out the window? Or
Yeah,
no, Billy tries to attack him, doesn't he?
Well, there's, like, a moment, and then he gets out the window.
Yeah.
Takes off, he
tracks him down to the...
Gizmo and Billy track him down to the YMCA where Spike just jumps into the pool.
Yeah. That's such a cool
Again,
scene.
very aware that what will happen. But like 1 cup of water, this is like that whole, oh no, because 1 cup of water created 5. What is an entire pool going to do?
Yeah.
And creates, and it's really cool with the music and the fog and the bubbling and the green. It was really cool. And then it cuts to outside the YMCA and you hear like uproarious giggling and cackling. And then cuts to an army of them walking down the street.
Which is actually really good special effects, I want to say, for the 80s.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's definitely dated, but it doesn't take you out.
With a lot of this just being puppeteering and then even like just a little bit of like maybe finagling like post-production and whatnot and like a lot of like rubber and like claymation, I feel, for it. This movie, like... Yeah, it feels like it's the 80s, but it works, and it works very well.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm always a fan of puppets over
100%.
CG.
Yeah.
Like always, I always like puppets, just because I have this whole theory. I don't know if I talked about it before. Maybe I probably have, but that whole like your mind knows there's something physically there, so I just think it makes it more more in it.
Yeah,
because aging puppetry still looks better than aging CG.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, depending on the puppetry.
Yeah, totally. But like, you know, like Labyrinth, it's like Labyrinth looks really old, but the puppets are still really cool.
Yeah.
But even at this point now, too, a lot of the CG of Lord of the Rings makes you look like, whoa, that looks real. Looks real weird.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the next like 5 years they do like a weird remaster with all of that.
I'm totally okay with that. I'm very okay with that.
So yeah, Spike, after he like, you know, gets this army of gremlins, which is terrifying. They just wreak havoc on the town. They start murdering people. They kill Mr. Fedler, the neighbor with the snowplow.
Yeah.
They kill Mrs. Deagle in a very amusing way by just pulling the wires out of her chair,
and it's shooting her through the window. And like,
oh yeah. Also, I love when she's like, she hears them like singing caroling outside, and she's like, "Carolers, I hate carolers."
Yeah, and
then opens the door, and it's all the fuck girls like, oh fuck, that would be terrifying. Then the bar scene, which I find it amusing that in this bar scene, Katie is just like serving them. Like a bunch of gremlins walks in, and she doesn't just run away in fear. She just starts serving them.
I didn't think about that.
Like she's just serving them out of like fear of her life in a big way as well.
That kind of goes into your Looney Tune thing.
No, exactly. And that's really like what this like, and as they were talking about in the reviews that you pointed out, is like they become kind of like it's making fun of like the time period. Like there's a is it a Flashdance reference with like the leg warmers.
The leg warmers,
yeah. And like there's like a smoking like serious like gremlin that's like in a corner with a lane. Then another gremlin comes with like a puppet and he hits it with a hammer. It's like
there's a flashing
gremlin. It's like you could there was the flash gremlin with the gremlin that pours the beer into its mouth and its belly just grows. It's like I think they did a really good job because like if you think about like what a gremlin would be like, they're kind of a magical like creature to where they would defy the laws of physics and like reality of
like
our
a Looney Tune.
Yeah, like a Looney like you put Wile E. Coyote chasing the Roadrunner in that bar scene and it would like fit.
Yeah.
You have it would be like these gremlins be out in this world. It's like if Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd came out of the cartoon and were in real world doing their same antics. That's what that's the insanity that these gremlins are doing and would be
like an Acme anvil falling out of the
like
sky.
it's just oh dude there's a bunch of Acme stuff in Gremlins too. I just remembered.
Yeah, there is.
So yeah, it's fucking Looney Tunes and it's awesome and it's hilarious and it's literally like it's when I watch this movie I'm waiting through the entire film for this moment pretty much.
Oh, but isn't that also like why that whole conversation happens with about her dad is they're like hiding and then they end up coming outside and all the gremlins are gone and then Billy's like, oh, it's gonna be light soon, so they're probably trying to hide somewhere dark.
No, he says something about Christmas again where she
but is that maybe they're alone in the house with Gizmo? Isn't that why they're hiding from the gremlins and they have that conversation and there's like a filler of like what would they be talking about this whole time?
I mean, yeah, because she's already brought up her dad or blah, 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 she doesn't like Christmas. It's pretty much more just a solidify showing like why she doesn't like Christmas. Okay. And just like tragedy can happen on Christmas type thing.
Yeah, and then it shows them, like I was saying, like going through the town and suddenly it's like dead quiet. They're trying to figure out where they are. They're all in the
movie theater
watching
movie
Snow
plex.
White, which I thought was fun.
Hi-ho!
Hi-ho! Hi-ho!
Yeah. So since they're all in one spot, Billy is like, all right, let's blow this bitch up.
Basically.
Yeah. So he finds the boiler room to like get the gas going.
Yeah.
And then lights, the gremlins do end up like finding them. Also, like, God damn, the gremlins just are so fucking funny in that entire thing. Stripe goes to the concession to like get some food.
Yeah, it's like they're all food driven.
Yeah,
which I appreciate.
Yeah, and so he sees Candy across the street because they've taken all the concessions out of the goddamn movie theater. So Billy and Katie, they blow up all the gremlins, even though like as they like try to chase them out, and they blow up the movieplex and they look across the street and they see Stripe has gotten away. Like he was not in there, so he's in the department store. Yeah. And so now they have to go chase after him. Also, at some point, it's like Billy's like just carrying Gizmo around with him and like bringing Kate around with him. It's like at some point, it's like maybe you don't need them with you. Like this is like life or death. Maybe I don't know. They don't seem to be helping very well.
Looks like Kate can help, but like
Gizmo, but Gizmo does end up helping, which is nice. This is also kind of a terrifying like scene because like Stripe is very much like just taunting Billy the entire time, and Stripe has the murderous drive and craziness to kill Billy while Billy is struggling to figure out how to handle the situation.
He comes down with a chainsaw, right?
Stripe? Yeah.
Stripe doesn't fuck around.
No, Stripe does. He also shoots Billy in the arm with a crossbow.
Right, I forgot about that. He starts out with a crossbow.
Yeah, like Phoebe's trying to go, or Kate is trying to go find like the lights for the department store, so then it'll blind him and they can, also the sun's starting to come out as well. While Billy is like fighting off Stripe pretty much, Gizmo's just trying to find a way to help. Gets into a weird little like RC car that apparently has a gas pedal in it.
Oh yeah.
You didn't think about that, did you?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I mean, long story short is like the fountain gets turned on, and then Stripe sees that there's a fountain, so he can make his new batch.
Yeah.
You know, before the next movie comes out. You know?
New batch.
Yeah. And Gizmo finds like a snow shovel jump and launches himself to like pull the blinds out in this greenhouse area to bring the sunlight in to kill Stripe as he's like as he's in this fountain.
As he's like multiplying.
Yeah. So Gizmo saves the day after Billy gets fucked up by Stripe.
Yeah, and the idea was that Billy was going to save the day, but then again, Spielberg's like, no, we should like have Gizmo actually be the hero.
Mm-hmm. And so then, you know, Billy gets covered with, gets covered with a scarf and whatnot, and so, you know, he doesn't get into the sunlight and be all safe and whatnot, and it's a happy ending. You know, I guess it's kind of Christmas miracle right there. There's also Stripe gets his like second big scare, like its skeleton pops out of the fountain, it's still alive, and that bubbles and melts away.
Again, really cool effects.
Yeah. And now they're at home having a wonderful Merry Christmas. And then the Chinese wise grandfather shows up
and collects Gizmo because you are not ready for the responsibility yet. As I was saying in the beginning of the film, and I warned you to not take this fucking thing.
Which he kind of didn't. I mean, he didn't. He said don't take it, but he didn't like really warn them about it or anything.
Oh, in the very beginning, he says Mogwai it's like too much responsibility.
Oh, okay, I guess he did. Yeah, whatever. But then he apparently he speaks to the Mogwai. He understands Gizmo actually. As he's getting ready to leave, he stops and he's like, he wants to talk to you. And Billy's like, what? And then cute fucking Gizmo comes out. It's like, bye, Billy. And fucking my heart melts and I become a fucking puddle of just emotions. And
doesn't that kind of imply that like when you're ready, you'll get him again kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's what he says. He's like, maybe one day. Because like also this old man's not going to live forever. And someone's going to need to take care of it. And their son's just going to fucking sell it in the black market, apparently.
Yeah, and Billy becomes the Ripley of Gremlins. Like, yeah.
And then as the old man walks down the street, he fucking walked a long way from fucking Chinatown, to be honest. And then you get Randall doing a narration about and that's the story of our Christmas, whatnot. But maybe the next time you got like something not working, maybe turn on all the lights and make sure you don't got any gremlins in the house.
I did like that.
Yeah. I fucking love this movie.
So what?
It's a Gizmo.
We're giving it a Gizmo?
It's a Gizmo.
I'll give it a Gizmo.
It's a fucking Gizmo. It has a Gizmo in it. It's a Gizmo. I love it. I love this movie so much.
Very much a Gizmo.
Yeah, and we kind of like, solidified, yeah, sure, Christmas movie.
Yeah. A Christmas creature feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Unconventional Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. Where Mrs. Deagle is the real gremlin, to be honest.
She gets murdered.
By the Gremlins.
You
have any final thoughts?
No. It was fun to watch it again. Like I said last week, I haven't seen this in like 10 years or whatever. Mm-hmm. And thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's definitely a movie. I try to rewatch it like every couple of years, but I think it's been good. Maybe I watched it a couple of years. I can't remember last time I watched it other than this time, but I definitely paid attention a lot more this time.
Yeah, totally.
Like that. The
time machine thing was a cool catch,
dude. Not only that, and then the Lost in Space robot, and the next one, and also like there's the radio show guy.
Oh yeah, the Indiana Jones.
Looking like Indiana Jones, and then you got Short Round. Like I kind of want to rewatch it again and be like, where's all the Spielberg and like all the fun like references. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's a lot that the Gremlins just do in general.
There's like Ready Player One before Ready Player One.
Yeah, all the Easter eggs.
All the Easter eggs.
All right, guys.
Please join us next week for our final episode. We will be doing The Holiday.
Which hopefully is not like the bummer like the Family Stone?
Well, we'll find out. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends. If we've missed anything about Gremlins, let us know. We're always interested to hear from you.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
And this
Lead
is
us-
Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Bye, guys.